I thought they had sent something out, but maybe not. Oh, I don't have it written here. I'll send him an email. But it's October. You did, and I do have it written down at home. So, yeah, I
Kathy,
think
could I
I'm all
have
set.
your last name, please?
Hello, Barbara.
L-L-E-T.
N-O-L-L.
2 L's, L-L.
There are
And
two
then
people that are
details.
applying
You know that?
that I know of,
Thank you.
Thank you.
and she's leaving.
Good afternoon, everyone. Oh, we have to turn that on.
You're leaving us.
Turn it on.
Enough is enough.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good
Welcome
afternoon.
to our March Council of Aging meeting. Time is 1:31 on March 13th. A generous welcome to everyone for coming. We do have a quorum
Thank
with everybody here. And we have lots of guests today. We have got Joe Knox way over there in the corner from the Board of Selectmen. Welcome. We have Ann Chernosky. I know she works in our daycare center downstairs. We have David Sill. We have Kathy Nolet, who is an interested townsperson here to observe in the Council of Aging. We've got Barbara McCrae from the Friends, as well as Sharon Corbin and Dottie Ruse. And of course, we have the board. And Tina, our outreach worker, and the director, Pam. Anybody else hiding here that I don't see?
You got everybody.
We have a full house, in other words. Marge is enjoying herself in Florida. She didn't want to be, where? Oh, she's in Cancun. Well, she's in the warmth, and she's going to miss the storm tomorrow. We'll save some snow for her. Reminder that open meeting, all laws apply. First thing on our agenda is some announcements. Neighborhood supper, I hope people are attending. Oh, I hear the food's very good.
It is. And
Very
too
good.
bad we won't have it tomorrow night.
No, it won't be on tomorrow night. The Friends have been providing with some lovely luncheons of late, and I know there's another one coming next week with St. Patrick's. Make sure, if you're going to go, to check off your name. Otherwise, you're not going to get in, because I know they're full. We do have a resignation from the board from Roseanne, who will no longer be joining us. She's just way too busy with her personal schedule. Does anybody else have any other announcements that they would like to make? Welcome back, Susan, from your hiatus from the board for the last 2
She
months.
came back just in the nick of time, didn't she? Just in time for a big snowstorm.
Oh, I'm so happy.
I know, she's delighted she brought the snow with her. She should have stayed in Florida.
I'm staying next year through April.
You've had
Learned your lesson.
Yeah, well, I figured it out earlier.
I'd like to thank the Friends for their generous support around getting us the new office furniture.
Oh, yeah.
We got new carpeting in the office, and in the process of changing the carpeting, unfortunately, both desk systems were destroyed. And there was no funding available to cover that, and the Friends came forward and gave us the money to do that. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah.
The front desk one was just installed over the weekend, so if you want to get a peek at it, you can take a look. It actually is much better than the other one, bigger work surface and more space to tuck things away.
But maybe we can clean it up and not tuck so many things away.
Place to hide things.
Yeah, good.
Yes, the Friends are very generous. Thank you very much. Okay, we didn't have a meeting in February. So we don't have any notes, but we have the notes from the January meeting, which need to be reviewed and approved, so I hope you look at them online so that we don't have to read them all here today. So if you've read them, if anybody wants to make a motion to accept,
I make a motion that we accept the minutes from the meeting of January. January.
Mary Picard makes a
Nine.
motion to accept,
Nine,
Mary
yeah.
Catalano seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Minutes from the meeting of January have been accepted and approved. And the Friends, who would like to give the report from the Friends? Join us at the table, please.
Okey-dokey.
Give me a second.
Barbara McCray is going to speak today.
I'm giving Bob a second.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you for having us. And I don't have a whole lot to report today, but I did want to say that I do want to make a point that the Mardi Gras and the Valentine's Party were a great success, even though we had to put them so close together. Again, Mother Nature has, she's fooling us this year. I don't know. But this does prove that these get-together times are good for the seniors, and, you know, it's a real good day of camaraderie for them. So we enjoy giving them too. Now, we are almost maxed for the St. Patrick's Day. We might be, I'm not sure, but we are. We're maxed for the St. Patrick's Day party. So when you want to go to these things, and now it seems that more and more people want to come, get in early, get your name in early, and always make a reservation, unless we absolutely say something different. This time, apparently, there was a little bit of a mix-up about that. But when you're having a luncheon, you do need to know how many are coming, so it's better to have your reservations ready. And I'm going to just mention quickly that the Girl Scouts were having lunch tomorrow with the seniors, or Wednesday rather, and they had to cancel because of the weather. But they've changed it to, was it April 7th? 5th? April 5th. And so hopefully they'll have a good day for that. I want to mention that the thrift shop sales, $3 bag sales are happening. It starts March 26th and ends April 7th. So it'll be 2 weeks for the $3 bag sale. And then we'll be closed the week of April 10th. So we hope to see a bunch of people come out there and buy everything out so we can clean it up and put out the spring and summer clothes. So,
Excuse me, what's the starting date?
what's the day?
What's the starting date?
The 26th of March.
26th of March until the 7th of April. And then we're closed April 10th, that week. Okay?
Yep.
All right. I'm not sure if anyone else on the board has something, but anything? No? Okay. Thank you.
Any questions for the Friends?
Sounds good.
Thank you for the furniture.
Barbara mentioned that the Girl Scout luncheon had been postponed because of the weather. We are taking the vans off of the road tomorrow, so there will be no van service tomorrow. I have not received any notification about whether we are officially closed, but with no van service, there will be no social club tomorrow. I've canceled the blood pressure clinic. I don't want anyone to come here and get stuck here because they're talking about really heavy snow in the middle of the day. And again, when the schools close, the diner closes. So when the schools are closed for weather, not for vacation, but when the schools are closed for weather purposes, the diner closes because the diner is run by Minuteman Senior Services, and they make that decision. I suspect that the diner will be closed tomorrow. Whether we're closed or not depends on whether Town Hall is open or not, and that's an independent decision that gets made. If you are in doubt about whether something is happening or not here, if you call the regular number, the 402470 number, the answering machine will tell you whether we're having certain events. Later today, when you call, it'll say, for example, that the vans are not running tomorrow, and there's no social club tomorrow.
I want to ask a question. If anybody made reservations, were they notified that the vans aren't running tomorrow?
Yes, of course. I mean, that's part of canceling the vans, is we have to
Okay.
call everyone
I
and
just
either
didn't
reset
know.
them or just cancel them out. Yes.
Okay, Bob. Okay, on to old business. Discussion of the gift tree. Jean?
That is still on hold because due to the weather in February, I haven't had a chance to get together with them in Bedford. So hopefully I'll do it this month.
Okay. Could you tell the group what the gift tree is?
Well, it's almost like the tree downstairs. You just, I guess you take a name or something, not a name, but something the person wants and everything, you buy it and you hand it in and everything, but you don't know the person's name or anything like that. So it's basically, from what I understand, it's basically the same as the gift tree downstairs when they have it.
But what kind of things are being
Well, these are
requested?
for the seniors.
Uh-huh, so what kinds?
I really don't know because I just found out about it.
Okay,
And I'm trying to get together with them in Bedford because they're the ones that do it in Bedford, in that area.
Mhm.
But we do have about 12 people from Littleton on that list. So I'm trying to get everything together to see
Who
what's going on.
makes the list?
That, I would assume, like I said, I haven't had a chance to talk to anyone, but I would assume it's this lady Nicole, which she's in charge of it. So I'm trying to get a meeting with her to see what's going on and how we can go about doing different things and everything like that.
I was just wondering if it ties in with Tina.
I don't think so, but I will have to find out that
okay.
for sure.
Okay.
It's not a seasonal Easter or holiday,
Well,
it's all year?
They do it just Christmas, I believe. But I am trying to get, once I know what's going on and how to do it, I'm trying to get it to be like maybe even once a month or something to, help these, seniors. They may even need tissues, they may need toilet paper, they need,
Tuna.
so I mean, it's
Socks.
even socks, yeah.
Cold
But
winter.
they do,
Yeah, and so,
Jean, they do have our Littleton residents on their list
for the Christmas tree, yes,
for
they
the
do.
Christmas tree. Oh, okay. Well, that's
Yeah.
good. Well, then we'll wait for Jean to see if she gets an appointment with this Nicole.
Like I said, the weather's starting to come off. I thought it was gonna get
Yeah.
better.
We didn't mean to put you on the spot,
Oh,
but
no,
we're just
that's
trying to
fine.
find out about it,
That's
yeah.
fine,
Good.
Oh, I understand, but, like I say, I don't know too much because I haven't had the meeting
Yeah.
yet with them,
Okay.
so.
Well, that's good. We'll wait till next month and see if there's another update. Thank you very much, Jean.
Hopefully. Okay.
Pam, you gonna do an update on the master plan?
So those who've been following the master plan process, you may have noticed, I sent you a link to this. They have now posted their recommendations. They're looking for public comment, so they would love for you to give them some feedback. There are several different items in there that directly or indirectly refer to the seniors and to initiatives that would help the seniors in town. There's a lengthy section on transportation, for example. The community center concept, which we're going to be talking about on Thursday, is mentioned as well as part of the master plan. So please take a look at that and give them some feedback. They've worked very, very hard on this process.
Is this information for the May 7th town meeting?
This is the master plan process that has been going forward, and they're getting ready to make their final recommendations.
How does it get voted?
Which part gets voted? It's already been voted and it's happened already. I guess I don't understand the connection. Well, they will make they will have a recommended report that will come forward. And the report is quite lengthy and has quite a few recommendations. Those recommendations then have to become specific initiatives, which would then come up for vote.
Okay, but it is not,
You don't-
not voted as accepted by the town or by the.
It's
selectmen or
accepted as a report. It's not accepted that they're going to do
By the-
everything that's in it.
By the selectmen.
Is that correct? You'll accept the
It's actually
report?
planning board, through the planning board.
Yeah.
It's a state requirement, once every 10 years. I think we're in 12 years now, but it's supposed to be done once every 10
So,
years.
no, it isn't, Mary. It's not voted by the town.
Okay.
And then those recommendations become, and the planning board has already started to implement some of the things that are in there, so.
And one of the recommendations, which I was really pleased to see there, is they're looking for an initiative that will continue to monitor the health and the status of the items that are recommended.
Right.
So that instead of the steering committee just going away and the master plan sitting, that there will actually be a set of advocates that will try to
Let's
help.
wait for 10 years and see what happens, yeah.
Right, to really try to implement that.
Said 15 in the report somewhere I read.
May I make a couple of comments? The report is rather extensive, and I thought about printing it out, and then I said, no, it says too many pages. You can go in and get it online, you can look at it, you can read the parts that you're interested in, but it is, I'm not trying to be negative, I think people ought to do it, because I've been involved in that process by going to all of their different forums and so forth, and I feel very comfortable and very good for us as a seniors and as a COA with what they've come up with. And I'm not sure what else they want for comments, but I think that it was, we've had ample time to put it in, but it is worth looking at to see what they finally came out as their final, recommendations. But it is long and it gets tedious.
Well, you know how whenever people are looking at pictures, they're always looking for pictures of themselves. You can search through there and find all the spots where they mention COA.
Or call Paul Avila, he's the master of it. That's done a lot of hard work putting it all together.
Anything else on the master plan? Okay. I'm going to pass those down. There's one for you. This is an update from the COA Housing Subcommittee. That is, you want to pass those down, Bob? One for you and two down there. Marge Payne, before she left on her lovely vacation, asked me to give an update from the Housing Subcommittee. This subcommittee was established in May of last year, 2016. Since then, we have had 9 meetings over this 10-month period. We've been quite busy, to say the least. We've established the goals for the committee. We have attended 2 meetings with the Littleton Planning Board to discuss the needs of the seniors. We have advised the planning board what type of housing we thought would be appropriate for Littleton and asked them to take our requests under consideration. And what we said was housing like we have on Shattuck Street, as well as something like we have on White Street, except not 2 level, single level. The seniors weren't really in favor of what's down by Nagog. We reviewed recommendations from the outside contractors who reviewed the town zoning laws and made proposals to change them, which we agreed were appropriate and should go before town meeting in the spring for approval, which apparently they are going to town meeting. We've also reviewed the Littleton Planning Board's production plan and its goals, and we also agreed with those. Our members have attended meetings of the Littleton's master plan over the last many months and provided input. And I, as selected by the committee, continue to attend the monthly meetings at the Littleton Housing Authority. Now we're sort of in a lull, and Bob's very happy about that because he doesn't want to have any more meetings for a while.
I've already had 2 today, and I've got another one coming, also you'll wait.
Well, what we need to do now is get the word out, encourage family and friends and our neighbors to support these proposed zoning laws at the town meeting this spring. That's probably going to be a big job to get them to be approved. And this is submitted by me, and the town members or our committee members are Mary Catalano, Mary Picard, Bob Stenson, and myself. Marge Payne wanted this. Yes,
No,
Bob?
go ahead, I want to make a comment after you finish.
Pardon me?
I just want to make a comment after you finish.
Okay. She wanted this report submitted. I have one for you, Tina, because you come to the meeting, but you're sitting way over there. It's been a very busy committee. We've done a lot of work. And I think it's been a lot of productive work. But now it's waiting for town meeting and see what happens and what we need to do from there. Marge also wanted me to advise the awareness committee that they would like she would like a report for the board for next month.
It's us.
And I know you're
Roseanne
down.
left us. We need a new member.
I know you're down one member.
2 of you can't do it?
Of course we can. I'm
Sure
just
you
saying.
She
can.
just hasn't been around. That's the We'll figure it out.
Bob wants to make a comment, and then if you have
I
any
just wanted to-
questions,
I'm
feel free to ask.
Mary.
I just wanted to underline what Patty just said, and that is that the key to this is going to be that the planning board can recommend whatever they want, but if the town meeting does not vote changes in the zoning, we've accomplished nothing. And so it's very important that we encourage seniors to go to the annual meeting and to vote as recommended by the planning board, changes in zoning. Now, that's gonna mean that we are not gonna be a 1 house on 2 acres town, because it will mean that there will be some areas set aside for some residential, for senior housing. There will be, and 55, I wanna say approved, but that's not.
Targeted.
55 targeted housing. There will be affordable housing. There will be places for our seniors finally to be able to move out of their great big huge houses and find smaller places to live. But it all can happen if those zoning changes don't happen. There is also a recommendation that there be a change in the way that we deal with.
Accessory dwellings?
Huh?
Accessory dwellings?
Yes, accessory, I guess that's what they call them, accessory dwellings. All these words have gotten me crazy. But it is for allowing a senior to live in a house in an addition with the rules and regulations stating how it will be done, which was voted down at the last town meeting the way that it was at that time. And so it is important that they've worked with the consultant very carefully to make this an excellent addition and change. That's another thing that will be coming up. And it's just so important that we get the seniors out. Don't just sit on this yourself. Talk to every senior you know and tell them that they need to come to that annual meeting and they need to be encouraged to, because it may mean whether they stay in town or not.
It's also important to keep in mind that this is for the future. It's not going to happen
It's not gonna happen.
next year or 2 years from now, but it's the future of the town. When I went to the planning board, it's a young planning board compared to my age, and I said, this is not going to benefit me. It's going to benefit you. It's for the future that we need to be thinking about here. And that's what I emphasize to the planning board. It's going to benefit you, or you, or you. It's not going to benefit me, but it will benefit you. So it's important that we talk this up.
Agreed.
Yes.
It is important to us, but we also have to consider the builders, because they're building these senior citizen housing starting at $500,000.
Exactly.
So, this is not helping a senior to downsize because their home is probably worth 500,000, and now you're gonna go equilateral for a lot smaller piece of property, same taxes, and how is that really benefiting us? So we really need to work with the builder to make these affordable houses for all seniors, not just an affordable housing plan for
Right.
those that reach or hit the financial criteria for affordable housing, but those that are above that level, but still want an affordable house.
Well, usually builders keep that in mind because they're out to make money. And they like more expensive homes, so they know that.
We did.
And I was amazed that it said in the paper the other day that the average house in Littleton is $490,000. That really surprised me, but the number of $700,000 houses that have been built as of late have raised that median quite a bit.
Yeah.
But we do need to deal with people who are not, I don't qualify for affordable housing in
Correct.
quotes, but I sure would like to be able to move into an affordable house without the lawn that I have.
Or the snow plowing, right?
Take on a mortgage, when we downsize,
That's right.
so this is
This,
something.
this was discussed at the planning board as well, yes.
Good point, John.
And
I'd like to thank the members of the Housing Subcommittee for the efforts that you've put in.
Yeah, they've been
Um,
wonderful.
You know, I can go to these meetings and I can speak as the department head for Elder and Human Services, but it has so much more weight when the subcommittee members show up and the board members show up and really speak, as you were saying, not for one's personal self-interest, but as a representative of the elder community.
Yeah.
I really, really appreciate the effort you guys have put
I
into
mean, when
that.
I went home that afternoon and I typed out something and I was like, this is what I got, and the gentleman on the board said, what do you got there? I said, well, I didn't want to make a mistake and forget what I wanted to say, and he wanted it
I
at the end of
remember,
the
yeah.
meeting, and it was like, well,
remember
I don't
that.
know about that. But I did give it to him. Because
You
I was
did?
saying, it's for you, it's not for me.
Yeah. I remember.
So, we're trying our best, just, for the, it's for the future. It's not gonna help me. I'll be 6 feet under.
Yeah.
But anyway, if there's nothing else on that, we'll move on to new business. Pam's gonna talk about the MAG Community Center, which is having a meeting on a Thursday morning at 10 o'clock
Speaking of the future.
for your future.
Right, so I really want to encourage people to either come to the meeting Thursday morning at 10 o'clock, where we're going to be talking about what is a multiple age group center, how does it meet the needs of the seniors, and I'm going to actually spend a little bit of time just talking about our growth so that we all get on the same page and understand the need that we have. It will be televised. And I'm assuming that means it will also be then available on demand from LCTV for people who do miss the meeting. And it's my sincere hope that as the seniors have this meeting and kick off this discussion, that later we'll have other meetings, evening meetings that invite other people who may be working, families, et cetera, to talk, more broadly in the town about the concept of what a community center could do for the town. As I mentioned on the master plan, this was called out as one of the line items of something they thought we should be looking at. So I hope to see you all Thursday morning,
What room?
10 a.m., room 103. Like to have to bring in extra chairs.
Open house and EHS COA.
Yeah, this has been on here for a couple of months. We were going to talk about it in February. I almost feel like we need to wait a little bit to think about that. I'm a little overwhelmed with all the things that are going on right now to even think about the timing for it.
We do
Weather.
seem to
We
have
just push that to the
Weather.
next meeting.
Yeah.
Shelled for now.
We do seem to have a lot on the agenda.
And the weather affects it also.
Oh, we definitely wouldn't want to do anything
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Anytime.
I'm beginning to get doubtful about April now.
Preview of town report for FY 2016.
So you may not know that the town report that gets distributed at the time of town meeting is actually prepared now. So I had to turn in my draft to Clancy, and he's pulling it together. But I thought it might be helpful to share with some of you some of the numbers that are in that report. It's a 8-page report, so I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. But some of the numbers I think really are outstanding. As I do each year with this, I compare this year with the previous year. So we're talking about fiscal year 16 now, which finished in July. So I'm looking at statistics from that year and comparing it to the previous year. Some of the changes are, and we do this with my senior center, so these are real numbers, these are not just invented. We went from 473 individual seniors who were seen through our offices in fiscal year 15 to 677 the following year. That's an increase of 43%. That's a big increase.
How
a
do you
big
get
jump.
those numbers? We don't log in.
I have something called My Senior Center, which is a database. And that database, if you've ever attended anything and you've had to fill in your name, or if you've ever called the front desk and filled in your name and phone number for an attendance sheet, it goes into that database.
Wondered.
If anything, these numbers are probably a little short, because I'm sure there are people who attend, for example, some of the Friends luncheons, and we don't have them entered in the database because we usually enter those as group attendance. So I'm very confident that these numbers are strong, and if anything, short.
473 and 6.
It went from 473 to 677.
Thank you.
And then if you look at the number of visits, see, that's individuals, but if you look at the number of visits, because people tend to come multiple times, jumped from 11,516 to 14,041, an increase of 17%.
Two big, that second number,
I'll give you the numbers afterwards.
11,000.
I'll give you the numbers. I'll give you the numbers afterwards. I got them all written down. The other number that I like to look at is daily attendance. Again, if we look at 15, daily attendance, every day averaged 33 people are seen by us. If we look at this year, from July until now, we're already averaging 45 a day of attendance. And people don't realize the number of people that are involved because we're scattered over the 2 floors, multiple rooms. Tina sees an incredible number of people in and out of her office. We have people upstairs for social club, people in the computer class, they're downstairs in exercise classes, they're in the diner having lunch. I think 45 a day through the door is a lot of people when you consider the amount of actual real estate that we have. I think we're using our space extremely well, but this contributes to the whole thing that I want to talk about on Thursday, about how if we continue to project out that kind of growth, we're just bursting at the seams.
Tina's figures go in with yours, right?
Tina's a member of my department, and yes,
Yeah.
her figures do go in with mine.
Does that include the people that walk into the thrift shop?
No. This is why I'm saying that these numbers, if anything, are light, because it doesn't catch a person who just comes into the thrift shop, who just comes in, stands in the doorway and makes an inquiry of the person at the front desk. And yet, if you think about it, we are servicing those people. You know,
Wow.
and
That's a lot of
it says
folks.
nothing about the number of phone calls that are received every day, which we don't even want to go there. And all of these numbers, I'm not talking about transportation. These are all separate from transportation. Transportation is a whole nother set of numbers. And transportation, in fiscal year 15, we did 5,357. rides. In 16, we did 6,126, an increase of 14%.
How many vans, though, and each year, those years, they were not the same number of vans available?
Not that I'm aware of. I was running 2 vans both of those years.
In 15? Okay.
Yes, we've been running 2 vans. They were running 2 vans when I was hired,
Okay.
which was I started operating this position in 2012. So there were 2 vans at that point. Actually, that number for transportation would probably be up if we had the capacity to take more people, because we have to deny rides on a pretty regular basis.
Pam?
It would be the chair's responsibility to recognize a person from the floor.
Yes. Over there.
The van
Sharon.
we were hoping to get from a local dealer here, is there any news on that?
Still working on it. The new bus that we're going to get, you remember I was awarded the grant from the state to get the replacement for the blue van. That's progressing. They actually asked me what the wording should be on the side, which I took as a very good sign, and I think that'll be with us in June. That's the $85,000 big bus with a lift. The van that Sharon's referring to is that there's some discussion going on that we may be able to get what would be a third vehicle for us. That would be a much smaller, more compact van, but would still accommodate a wheelchair.
We have 5 drivers, do we?
We
I
have
lost
6
count.
part-time
6?
drivers,
Yeah. Okay.
but they're all part-time. It doesn't matter how many drivers I have. I'm only allowed 10 shifts a week, 2 drivers a day, 5 days. So I could have 100 drivers, but they would still run 2 shifts a day, 5 days.
Because that's the capacity of what it takes. for
Right,
vans.
right, yeah.
And it's also my budget capacity. I have to work within my MART budget.
Right.
These are all things that I hope are going to be solved in next year's budget.
Interesting about the town report, after going to the Littleton Housing Authority meetings for the last year, the Littleton Housing Authority doesn't write a report for the town, but they will be doing it this year. They've been asked by the town, because they get a stipend, that they will now be doing a town report to go into the booklet. I found that out at the last meeting.
That's interesting. Would you pass this over to Bob so he's got
There
those
you go,
numbers?
Bob. So, yes, Lisa announced that at the last meeting, that and she read the report to us, what she had drafted to say. So that's a new entity that'll be in the town report this year from the Littleton Housing Authority.
So I saved you from me reading you the 8-page report.
There you go.
But read it.
I don't have to read it, I know what's going in. But, but that's a good thing. I mean, if the town is giving a stipend, we should at least get a report on it. So now we're getting a report from the Littleton Housing Authority. I think that's very good. Okay, moving on to the bequests and donation updates.
This has been a very good couple of weeks for us.
At
Very,
least.
yeah, very, very happy to report that the Vincent Cooper Fund has again come through for us with a $10,000 donation to our Energy and Emergency Assistance Fund. Thank you very much. They also have provided us with a $5,000 donation for transportation, which is just wonderful. The Vincent Cooper Foundation has been very faithful every year in helping us with particularly the energy issue. And again, I can't stress the number of people that see Tina that qualify, first of all, for fuel assistance, but then she gets a fair number that don't quite qualify. And I think we had somebody recently missed by like $3 qualify.
Program.
Yeah. So it really behooves us to be in the position to help people. And I think I've mentioned it in this meeting before. Sometimes people's fantasy of fuel assistance is that if you get accepted into the program, it means they pay all of your bills. But that's not how it works. And we have people who they're accepted into the program, but they may receive $300 for the entire heating season. That's not even $300 a month, kind of thing. And of course, the Friends also have set aside money that can be used to assist with people who need fuel assistance.
Pam, Barbara,
Patty.
Barbara,
Oh, yes, Barbara McRae would like to speak.
I was just wondering, and people should know this anyway, I mean, if we have people that are in need, $10,000, do we use that for fuel assistance for people in Littleton, seniors?
There have been years in which we have paid out $9,000.
Wow. And is it just seniors, or is it like the humans too?
It's all the humans.
No, but that surprised me. I mean, I was thinking, it felt like a lot of money and made me feel bad for, I just wondered if we did. I know that we paid
2,000.
2,000 to somebody recently, so that's interesting.
2,000? You guys must have done that privately.
No, we allocated 2,000.
Oh, you allocated, right.
For fuel.
I think I came to talk to you about somebody that was $1,300 behind in an electric bill with
Yeah.
electric heat.
Yeah.
And that's not an atypical scenario. We had somebody come in just a couple of weeks ago, needed a $600 repair to their furnace.
Wow.
That's the kind of thing that when a person's on a fixed income and has very little money, even if they budget really well, when something like that happens, it just throws
Barbara?
everything.
you're aware that we are the only human resource available in town, so age is not discriminatory here.
Well, no, I know. I'm just saying that because the
Yeah.
Friends, we're the seniors,
Right.
okay? So I just wondered,
Well, the Friends funds are for seniors only, but Tina and I have additional funds that are not restricted in that
Right,
fashion.
yeah.
yeah. But that, makes you think.
And this is in relatively good economic times. Unemployment is down. Things were a lot worse a few years ago. And if you look at the numbers, you can see that it was really, really bad for a while and that it's better. The other thing that's really helped is that Tina really works hard to get people onto the state programs, either onto fuel assistance, the SMOC program, or she takes advantage of the Good Neighbor Energy Fund. There's a couple of other sources that she has as well, and Tina really tries to get people hooked up with what they need.
Good.
And every dollar that they get from those programs doesn't draw down what we have in our coffers.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
The other thing I wanted to mention, not mention, is I want to put a huge thank you out there to Virginia Sprong. Those of you who knew Virginia knew that she was a very strong advocate for transportation. She was very helpful at the time that the second van was being acquired, and left us $10,000 in her estate. And although I do not have that check in hand, I do have a letter from the attorney telling us that indeed that has been bequeathed us and that we should be receiving that. Again, very grateful for the generosity of individuals in town.
Did she specify where she wanted it?
She did not specify where she wanted it, and one of the things that it would be helpful in this group would be to talk about how to spend that $10,000. The other two were very specific. They came with direction in the letters.
I have a suggestion, based on what I know about Jenna. She loved and used the transportation towards the last number of years of her life. She had a profound, well, both she and Harry, a profound love of animals. And when I read that she had left the money, it occurred to me that some of it could be added to the fund that we have to help people, seniors, with their pets.
The Bradford Sampson
Right.
funding.
Not all of it, but some portion of it, because I think that had she known we were doing, that someone had come forward and that was being done, I think that would have absolutely been something that she believed in. Harry and Jenna's whole estate, on the whole, is being given to the Audubon Society. They created in, I think it's Ipswich, where they have their school, a program to help young people develop the same love of nature and birds and animals that they had. So it just goes in hand with their love of animals, that maybe we put some of it into that.
The other possibility would be also to put some into the TRED fund, the
Right.
program to assist with property tax assistance for low-income people.
Recently, Cindy Napoli, was it?
Napoli.
Napoli helped us. Remember last month?
The
Yes.
GoFundMe, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I guess I don't understand how that relates to talking about
It
Virginia
doesn't,
Sprong's.
it doesn't. It's just that it's money coming in.
Okay.
But wasn't that specifically for
That was directed
transportation?
money, right, and that went directly into the transportation fund, right. Directed money is when, like, I receive a letter and someone has $50 and they say, please use this for transportation. That goes directly into the transportation fund, as opposed to, you know, you receive like the Morrison Fund. We received $5,000 from them in the fall, and the letter said, to further your good work. I don't have a fund called Good Work. So you all, you know, every month when we have our meeting, you have the list of funds. Somewhere in here is a list of funds. These are the established funds that money can go into. So that's why with Virginia Sprong's money, we need to decide where the money's gonna go.
Do we want to decide it today or wait until we get the check?
It's your choice.
Do we know when the distribution's coming?
What would be the
Never
fund
know.
that Susan was talking about before the TRED? I know the TRED fund, but
It's comes out of the Bradford Sampson Trust, and it's an animal care fund.
Is it listed on here, though?
I'm not sure it's listed on here. That one may be listed separately, because TRED's not listed on here either.
No.
Those were formed slightly differently.
The Bradford Sampson was not that long ago that we heard about it, although it's been used.
It has been used, and this is now the second year with them, and they have made an identical donation this year. Obviously, the trustees are happy with the report out that we gave them of how we've been using the money. And Tina has several people who just would not be able to provide, in some cases, life-giving care, in other cases, comfort care for older pets.
Do we have many applications for TRED? We didn't get many last year.
You have until August to
we
submit
have
TRED
until-
applications, and I think Tina has some people on the hook.
Oh, okay.
As always, when we have programs like this, some people are reluctant to ask for assistance.
Yeah.
That's a perennial problem that we have in Littleton.
I would suggest we put off making a determination as to what, how to use it, and the next time, put it on the agenda with a group of suggested possibilities, and then we can discuss them.
Well, there's one suggestion on the table for
I got
animal
three. Another is animal
relief.
care
There's
fund.
another suggestion that we hold off until the next meeting. What about if people left today's meeting, thought about it, and sent an email to myself and Pam?
Nope, open meeting law violation. You can't do a discussion by email.
Okay.
What you can do is each of you can leave this meeting and you can think personally about how you think would be best to
Okay.
disperse
Bob
this gift.
has 3 good suggestions. We can vote on those.
I would
And
like
end
to take a month to, and to
Yeah, I
have
think we
it
should
on the,
listen.
Why drag it out?
because there may be more, and they can all be put on, and we can then have a discussion in terms of that for another month.
I agree.
What a
I'm just
terrible
saying- I'm just
situation, we
saying,
have
I
money.
just copied down 3 things. One suggestion was to help seniors with needs. Another was for the animal care fund for needy seniors. Another was to put some on the TRUD relief, tax relief fund. There may be others, and I don't want to make a decision right now to
No.
distribute it when we don't need to.
Right.
And, but if we put it as an agenda item next month with all the possibilities that are there and could be, and these included, then we can have a discussion. I don't like to talk ethereally, I like to have it in detail.
And we have time because we don't have the money in hand.
Right.
That's right.
I will caution you that if you come up with something that we don't already have an established fund for, we would have to go through the process of establishing the fund, going before the Board of Selectmen, establishing the need, et cetera. So that's why so frequently when these things come up, I bring you a laundry list of possibilities.
Well, then may I suggest that we think about the funds that already exist, and we come back to next month's meeting prepared to make a decision where the money will go.
Right. I second that.
All in favor? Okay. So review the established fund, come back prepared to discuss where it will be distributed at the April meeting.
And how much?
How much is the check?
10,000.
10,000. Even if we split it, where do you want to split it, or do you want it to go to all one fund?
Right.
Okay,
Thank you, yes.
thank you very much. Now we'll do the reports. Pam's got her reports all here. And Bob, you want to do the budgets?
Okay, there are the 2 budgets. There's nothing spectacular that has happened here, except that you can see the kinds of things that are happening. I do not have the numbers for the monthly riders on the March. I'm looking at the March budget. It says March at the top through February. And the driver's hours, the drivers are, out of 61,000, we only have 21,000 left, and we have 4 months to go. So this is why we run into transportation problems at the end of the year, and that's why we have some extra money for transportation to try and help that. Dispatches have been paid, and I think everything else is pretty clear. On the office budget, everything is there for you to see, and we're doing fine, no problem at all. We're any questions?
Motion to accept the report?
No, we'll do that, do them all at the same time.
You go ahead.
Oh, yeah, okay, Bob, we can do that. Director's report, you have one?
Can I make a comment on the MART report?
Yeah.
On the far right-hand side, you'll see that we've expended $49,000 out of our budgeted 68. I've mentioned this 3 years in a row, and it comes up again. This is that shortfall that I'm talking about. If you continue to extrapolate this out till June, it would come out to costing us more for transportation than we have money budgeted from MART. And that's why we established the transportation fund. That's why people like Cindy Napoli work to do the GoFundMe and to provide us with transportation dollars that we can apply towards that. The only other choice to hit $68,000 would be sometime in May and through June to severely cut back on the number of hours.
Shut down the vans.
Yeah, or take them off the road, which we don't want to do. We'd like to have nice, consistent service available to people, so just to see how this fits in the bigger picture. And did you want to speak to the office budget, Bob?
I did it, I've done both. You weren't paying attention.
Boy, you're good. And I apologize for the phone, but as you can guess, we have some transportation issues. I don't have a written director's report for you. I apologize. I'll have to submit that to you later, and we can review it at next month's meeting. One thing I do want to mention in terms of the director's report, I went to Crosstown Connect and did a training program for them on being a dementia-friendly community, and in particular, helping them focus on behaviors of those who ride who may be confused and demented, or suffering from mild dementia, and strategies on how to handle that. Also, just some general discussion, because our dispatchers get a lot of people who call them and may or may not be more or less confused. It went really well, and it was a good opportunity, again, to talk not just to the dispatchers, but some of their management staff attended as well. And we talked about transportation in general and the need for a variety of transportations for people. And that's back to what you were asking about, Sharon, the smaller vehicle. Not every transportation need is best met by having a 14-passenger bus pull up in the driveway that you have to book 48 hours in advance. So we talked about a variety of strategies of other ways to perhaps meet some of those needs. The underlying thing being for everything, funding. But we'll talk more about that in the future.
Okay. Thank you very much. Tina? The hot seat.
Busy lady.
Things are going along at the same pace. Continue to be busy with all the fuel assistance programs. Bradford Sampson Fund has been very active, and that's active for all ages across the board, but all low-income people who qualify. And we've been providing, a lot of the $200 grants, some a little bit above that for those in need, depending on the illness of the pet and the care that's needed. TREAD, I'm encouraging people. I know we only had 3 identified and accepted applications last year. I'd like to have that at least tripled. I know just from some of the families that I deal with for fuel assistance, many of them would be eligible. So I just need to encourage them more to apply and meet the August deadline, because I think that's such an important program to give them that break. The home modification loan program administered through SMOC, the fuel company we know for fuel assistance, they've been providing some adaptive bathrooms, and they're working somewhat hand in hand with the 2 assessments that Minuteman Senior Services, Minuteman By Your Side, did by providing an aging in place assessment to 2 households here in Littleton. And they had done that at no charge. They take that plan now and work with the SMOC program these households do, and they can get their homes adapted and pay back a moderate loan, through this program that's out of Framingham. And we've had 1 successful family already participate, and we're looking at 2 more.
Could you tell us, Tina, a little bit about what they did for that family that they just completed?
Okay, it meant, it was a gentleman who lives alone in a split-level home, and when Susan Aaron from the home modification loan program came out there, she identified a lot of issues. There wasn't a railing getting into the lower level. Both bathrooms were not wheelchair accessible or handicapped accessible. Both of those were brought up to be handicapped accessible. And all the railings and grab bars were installed, and he was very pleased with the work that was done. She helped find the contractors, and she was very pleased. And we're hoping these other two homes will also get that wheelchair accessibility and safe bathrooms in their home. So that was,
Thank you.
that was
Thank
that.
you.
Okay. And I
Tina,
tried, yes.
Can I ask, have you had anything to do with this? I went to the home show yesterday. There was a guy there selling real estate, but there were some other things too. The people were talking about home save, I think is what it's called, and basically they would come in and review your house completely, go through it, and make suggestions to you, provide you with free light bulbs, with special plug-ins so that you are using it, thermostats, programmed thermostats, which can cost $75, all for free, and they will, if you have insulation done or something like that, they would pay 75% of the cost. It's done through your electric bill and your gas bill. And I wondered whether you'd had anything to do. These are not for people, not for needy people, it's for anybody
For anyone.
who owns a home.
I think there
And
have been some.
I don't know whether people
that have
know
done it,
about
but-
that or not, but it certainly would be very worthwhile getting the assessment. They're coming to my house on the 22nd.
Did they give you a brochure or something?
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Did they give you a brochure or something?
No, they didn't. I just got there were at that show, there were three different companies which were in this program and offered this possibility. And the second guy said, "Oh, you've already seen him." But basically, it's a state program which is required by law, and the utility companies provide money to this program, and then it is provided. The assessment is completely free, and the things they give you, like the thermostats and so forth, are completely free, and then they pay 75% of work that you have done on the house. So if you
It'd be
need it.
great if you could send me some contact information for that.
Yep.
I'd like to put that in the broadcaster.
Because this would be great for, non-needy seniors, anybody who just needs to have their house looked at and checked on, and they would look for all kinds of things, such as the things you've been mentioning, railings, insulation, heat saving, windows. So,
Now, it's primarily, as I understand it, if I'm thinking of the same program, an energy efficiency program to try to help people to use less energy, whether it's electricity or
Exactly.
heating.
And to make sure that what you have, if you have a furnace, that your furnace is working properly, your heater is working properly, that you have proper insulation so that you're not losing heat through the house, and windows to make sure that they're, low energy and so forth. Very,
Who
very
pays for all this?
thorough.
The state.
The state?
The utility companies pay into a fund, and I'm sorry, I don't know exact name, I think it's Home Serve is what they call it. But basically, then there are companies that get involved in this, and so what they do is they come and do the free estimate, and it could take as much as 2 or 3 hours. And then when they're done, they write you out a complete report, they change light bulbs for you if you want them. They would put in a thermostat if you wanted that, programmable thermostat. These are all free. And then after that, if they think that you need insulation in your basement or in your attic or so forth, they would tell you that and how much you ought to do, how much in terms of the amount of insulation and so forth. And then that is left to you to decide whether you want to do that or not.
Nothing is free. Somebody has to pay.
Yeah, it comes from the utility companies. Yeah. And the idea is to reduce energy use by houses. And they had a nice three-way bulb. I had never seen this one before. It has 3 different LED lights, and you put it in and you can turn your three-way, and it has 60, the equivalent of 60, 100, and 150, I think.
Wow.
That alone was worth my having him come.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
LED lights are very much more efficient.
Yeah.
So I just wondered whether you got involved in that too, for people who might be over the guidelines for these programs.
I haven't been directly, but once you get this, we'll know more about how it went for you, and we can encourage others. And like Pamela said, she'll put it in the broadcaster. Well, another program that we want to continue to tell people about is the Habitat for Humanity Critical Home Repair Program. Again, a great program, and they've provided a couple of roofs for people who had that critical need and needed that critical repair, and they're very nice to work with. So we want to keep encouraging people to apply for that. And all the other meetings are going on, caregiver support group. This month, we have Care One coming, Karen Halloran, the last Wednesday of the month, the evening group. We're starting to get some new members. We have some out-of-town members, and it's a good meeting. And the month after that, in April, we have the Inn at Robbinsbrook coming to be our speaker. And I think in May, it's back to the Atrium Assisted Living that they'll be coming then. Other groups all going well, Living Alone, Social Anxiety Support Group, they're all going as scheduled. I'm doing some introductions of volunteers with their volunteers with people to visit in the community, and that's being rescheduled for tomorrow. It won't happen, but I'm just working with that.
Oh, yes.
So I think, and, we're still accepting names for the Day of Caring. The Council of Churches is, I think by April 15th, I have to have all the names in for them.
Could you describe the Day of Caring program, please, Tina, because that's new and people may not know
Okay,
what that's
yeah, I
like?
think they did it, last year. The Council of Churches has volunteers from all the churches in the community, similar to the community supper. That it's all the churches in the community. They get teams together and they go on a Saturday in May, I think it's the third Saturday in May, for 3 hours, the team of like 5 or 6 will do outdoor work. There's no indoor work involved, it's outside work. And they've been able, to do spring cleaning, rake leaves, plant some flowers, paint a fence, or I'm not sure about the painting of the fence, that might be more Catholic Heart Work Camp, but they've, done a lot of good outdoor cleaning type projects. Yeah.
They do windows?
Well, they do stuff outside, so I don't know, we can ask them.
The
Most of
windows
it's
are
been-
outside.
Yeah, I know, most of it's been yard, the little yard work, cleaning up the little area there.
Do they supply the plantings that you were talking about, or do the people have to have the plantings and say, I want these planted?
I'm not sure about that because I'm fortunate in that my job is limited. I make the referrals, give them the referrals, then they do a home visit a month before they go out, and they find out everything that's needed. So in some cases, they might find out someone needs to have a small tree dug up and a small one put in its place. They might help the person get that. But I'm, whereas with the Catholic Heart Work Camp, we have to be a little bit more involved, so I would know, if somebody needed that. But in this program, I don't need to know that, because they take care of all that once they get the names and the contact information from me.
It's generally the type of thing that volunteers can do in one day, and it usually does not involve construction.
Yeah.
So I think that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Good,
Good,
Mentioned
thank
Catholic Heart
you.
Work Camp.
Well, we didn't want to confuse it in the newsletter. The Catholic Heart Work Camp and the Day of Caring are two very different programs, but when the deadlines are so close to each other, because next month I'll have the deadline due for the Catholic Heart Work Camp. They're coming the 4th of July week. I think it's that July 3rd through 7th. So, and we take referrals. They can do indoor work, outdoor
Right.
work, painting fences, repairing decks, that sort of thing. And they're here for a whole week, and they live at Lawrence Academy during the week, and they're youth from all over the state, not over the state, all over the country that come and stay there. This is like their work camp, and they're well supervised, and the work is generally pretty good. We have people who, depend on this because they can't afford to hire contractors to do some of their work, and they bring with them many skilled supervisors who do this as a career and come out to support the teams. And that's coming, like I said, July.
Thank you, Tina.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dina. Nothing to report, Barbara?
Ashway Kitchen, everything's running smoothly right now.
Oh, good. That's because you're down there.
The numbers are still good, and bingo is, I think bingo has slackened off a little bit as far as numbers are concerned, but because of cold weather and stuff, I think. But that's all, you know, they're usually at least anywhere from 15 to 20 people.
Oh, that's good.
And we got the leak fixed in the sink, and got the new
Yes.
faucet installed,
Yes.
which is wonderful.
That's
And
good.
did I see that they installed the dispensers for the dishwasher? Or was that my imagination?
The what?
Dispensers for the dishwasher, but that might have been my imagination that those got
No.
installed.
Nothing's changed there.
Oh, so we're still throwing it in the door. That's okay, it does the job. Afraid having
Anyone in
kitchen-
the audience want to say something?
Well, first we need to make a motion to accept all the.
I move that we accept all the reports as given.
Okay.
Seconded.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Can't vote twice.
Okay, Bob, let's not be funny.
I just kept raising my hand and figured I'd get the eventually.
I did that once too often. Look at what happened to me.
Well, I have to thank everybody for coming, being so attentive. Thank you for the lovely audience we had today. We had more audience than we had members.
Why are you all here?
Yeah,
You were on your toes.
I beg your pardon?
May I ask a question?
Sure.
I was really taken by that article in the Globe about the two sisters in Brookline.
Mhm.
Does that ring a bell for
Yes.
anybody?
Yeah.
And I just wondered if, I don't know, perhaps we do have a program, but if there's a way to ensure that we check on our neighbors, or how do you report a situation like that and get people some help, or?
I'm glad that you asked that question.
It's a tricky thing when people have dementia, what your rights are and what their.
And
These are the
I think the
twin
way to deal
sisters,
with
right?
it is to take it out of
They
their
didn't
hands.
have dementia.
So if you have a situation that you think a person may be at risk, and a person can be at risk because they make poor decisions for themselves, like a hoarding situation, or choosing to turn the heat down so low that their pipes freeze and that they're cold. You can, if you look at the broadcaster, there's a banner that says suspected elder abuse, call this number. You can call anonymously, and you can say that you're concerned about a person, and then it goes into the state system, and they will investigate. And Tina, you can tell them what the process is.
I mean, it sounds, excuse me, it sounds like a couple neighbors did call the authorities, and whether it was some social service or whomever, went to check on the sisters. This was before they knew one was,
You know, I can't speak to what happened in Brookline and how
But
they
I-
work. I can tell you how it works in Littleton.
yeah.
One of the
And we
problems
did
with-
have a meeting with Middlesex about this, because all you can do as a neighbor or as a person in town is to report what you see or what you observe or what you even think, and they'll take it forward, but at some point, they can only go so far. It was sort of a very frustrating kind of meeting, because they can't
Force it.
force help on people who say, no, I don't need help.
And basically, that was the situation with that Brookline Sisters. It was a very difficult situation because they refused, you know, the one who was still somewhat stable, really, they were very, very private people and did not want anybody involved, and you can only handle so much. And I wish there were answers to that, but I don't know whether there are.
But if you have anyone that you are concerned about, you absolutely should call, make a report. I talk about this building a paper trail, because if there are multiple reports from multiple different people, that causes more concern. You know, if there's one isolated report and the person goes out and they say, no, I'm fine, everything's fine, and they never hear from anyone again, then they do think that person's fine. But if over a period of months, there are multiple reports from multiple people with multiple situations that they've observed or behaviors, then you're much more likely that something's going to happen.
The banner on the bottom, I think I've seen it before,
Mhm.
regarding abuse and neglect. I
And it
think,
can be self-neglect.
and people might not consider that,
Mhm.
or know that they need it, or, you know.
Mhm. And of course, anyone, and I urge those who are watching, anyone can always call Tina and have a discussion with her about what they need to do for a situation. That's why we're here. I mean, we talk about ourselves being no wrong door. You don't call Tina up and she says, oh, I'm not going to talk to you about that. You need to call the state. She'll talk with you. And if you have someone that you're concerned about, you should talk with her about them.
It was just a compelling story and so well researched.
Mhm. I would caution you that what you read in the paper may not be completely accurate. Or on the internet.
Having been misquoted 132 times. Yeah.
This week. No, I just, there's often quite a gap between what makes news and what makes clickable headlines versus what the reality is of the slogging day-to-day work of trying to help people. But Bob makes a very good point that particularly in the state of Massachusetts, the state tends to lean to the side of people who say, I'm fine. It is very difficult to prove a person incompetent in this state and to wrest control over their interests and their rights. You're laughing, Barbara.
I just went. I'm saved.
Can't be proved.
Yeah, right. Although they tried.
Even though you were dancing in the snow in a tutu. Dance of spring.
But I'm glad you brought that up because
Yes.
it's important for people to know that you can make a report. And often Tina and I are alerted to a problem in town by our first responders who get pulled in for an emergency situation. We'd love to know about situations before they become an emergency.
You know that little blurb that you're talking about, when I've glanced through the broadcaster, I've seen it, but I thought of it as abuse, meaning somebody was abusing you.
Right.
Um,
I'm hesitant to add the term self-abuse, but
I'm glad that you mentioned it because maybe that's something, right now, you just let people know that it doesn't mean just that kind of abuse. It means if you feel something's going on, like they're abusing themselves by not eating.
Neglecting themselves, not eating, not,
Yeah.
those kinds
It's a
of.
concern.
Yeah. It was, as I said, that meeting was so edifying in a way, but also so very frustrating because, it can be that your kids are financially abusing you. And they'll go and the mother will say, oh, no, everything is fine. She has no money left. The kids are in mansions and driving Bentleys.
Not a lot of people attended that meeting, which they should. Should be run again, I would think.
What meeting was that?
The meeting that we went to for the.
Yes, when the woman from Middlesex came and talked about abuse.
When was it?
This
Oh, it
wasn't,
was last year, a year before, maybe.
Oh.
No, it was just a month or so ago.
Well, I wasn't here.
if you're talking about when the district attorney came, the
Oh, I
room
wasn't
was
here
pretty
for that
full. We
one.
had about 50 people in there.
Was it that many? I didn't think there was that many.
I did a head count. It was over 40 for sure.
Just one other thing, they did a follow-up in today's Globe,
Mhm.
because they had gotten a lot of feedback from folks and comments. And I don't know if it was the writer or someone else who suggested 2 movies to watch. One is Grey Gardens,
Yes, that's scary.
and the other is Whatever Happened to Baby
Oh,
Jane.
my gosh.
And I don't think I ever saw that.
Yeah, that was horrifying.
That is bad.
That's
Yeah.
pretty bleak, yeah. pretty
Well, whatever happened to Baby James was fiction, but Grey Gardens was a documentary,
Mm.
and I would recommend that for people. There are some more contemporary ones that Tina can point you to that are quite poignant.
Garden that you and I saw.
That's a much more contemporary one, yeah.
Brett Gardens was about the Bouvier cousins.
Yeah, that's from the, late 60s or early 70s.
That was the continuation in the Globe when I saw it.
Thank you all for coming. It's nice to have 2 rows of people sitting there.
Yeah, I know, to
God bless you.
watch us
I move we
fumble
adjourn.
through.
So does somebody want to make a motion to
I
adjourn?
move that we close and adjourn for the,
All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned at 2:51.
life is good. We're off the air.
If you get back.
Now don't we have these people
Thank
that
you.
are applying?
We're gonna